What's up, guys? Eric Prey, Focus Fishing Guide Service, Table Rock Fishing Intel. Got another video fishing report for you for Table Rock. It is Thursday, February the 8th. Did not get out nearly as much as I wanted to last week. Got out Saturday and Sunday. Friday, the ramps were basically unusable. So got out actually Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then got out again today. Didn't feel like fishing in the rain the last couple of days. Bites really not changed a whole lot. We'll kind of go over what I found today. I'm up around Shell Knob. But lake level, we are at 915.5 right now, which puts us about a half a foot above normal winter pool. Lake's still coming up a little bit. I saw a lot of water coming in the backs of the creeks. So we do have some water coming in. Lake will come up. It's, I don't know, we'll probably get to about 916, maybe 916 and a half by the time this is all said and done, depending on what the core does with generation. Water temperature really didn't change that much. Up here around Shell Knob, I saw 46, 47 all day. And that's kind of what we've been seeing all over the lake. Somewhere between 45 and 50 seems to be the norm. And it certainly was here as well. Best way to stay on top of what's going on, though, of course, join Table Rock Fishing Intel, become a pro member. Check out the daily reports. We had 4 or 5 daily reports this past week. I'm sure we'll get a bunch this weekend as well, with all the guides being out, with the weather being nice. Get those daily reports, get those videos, all that information that helps you know what you're going to do before you get to the lake. At least gives you an idea of what the fish are doing. But if you're coming down, I'm going to fish the lower end of the lake. I fished the lower end on Saturday. I don't know, guys, the lower end still just does not seem to be fishing as well as it should be. Granted, Saturday was very windy and we were a little bit limited. We did fish shallow quite a bit. We probably wasted too much time up Long Creek. We went up above the state line all the way to Cricket and fished a rig, fished a jerkbait, fished a crankbait a little bit. We had a few fish on it, but nothing to get excited about, that's for sure. Mostly shorts. I think we did have one 15.5-inch fish on a jerkbait. The better fish we caught were all out deeper. Most of them were on the main lake around schools of shad, and most of them were a lot deeper than I like to fish, to be honest with you. Most of them were in that 75 to 85 foot range is where we were catching them. So there was a decent deep bite going on down there. I know I've talked to some guys that have fished down there since Saturday, and it's really not changed that much. You can catch them on a scuba spoon, catch them on a jigging wrap, catch them on a Demiki rig, catch them on a scope spin, but the deep bite was definitely better. I imagine if we get a decent warming trend, today's going to be nice and warm. If you got up in the river, got up in Long Creek, you might be able to catch a few more up shallow with a jerkbait, an A-rig, or maybe even a shaky head or a pro spider jig. So keep that in mind if you're going to go up that way. Mid-lake, fished the mid-lake on Sunday. It was okay. Definitely the best bite or most consistent bite was deep. Caught most of the fish, around that 55 to 65 foot range. And really the key right now to the deep bite is finding some shad or finding groups of fish. Targeting singles right now is really tough. It's hard to get those singles to bite. But if you can find some shad, and most of the shad on Sunday were on the bottom around that 55 to 65 foot range, and the fish were either in the shad or just above them that we caught. So we caught a lot of them on a scuba spoon, on a jigging wrap, Demiki rig. Actually, Demiki rig was probably the best bite we had. And we did catch a few throwing that scope spin and working it through the shad. That was been a very good bite. We fished shallow for a little bit. The only fish we really found shallow were on an A-rig and a jerkbait. And those fish were relating to brush piles. And then the brush piles, I say shallow, the brush piles were 18 to 25 foot deep. And we were using the forward-facing sonar, throwing it over top of the brush piles and watching the fish come out of the brush pile to eat them. That's really the only shallow fish we caught in the Kimberling City area. Fished up the James a little bit on Monday. Did not get to fish a whole lot. Pretty dang windy again Monday. Wind kind of seems to be a theme already. And caught them shallow up there. Went from Cape Fair on up. Water had a little bit more color. I'm sure it's got quite a bit of color now with all this rain and probably some debris in it. But caught them on a jig, caught them on a shaky head, most of them on bluff ends and bluff cuts. Did not catch any real big fish, but had a decent little limit, probably about 13, 14 pounds. Most of them on a jig, shaky head on bluff cuts, and the bluff ends, that sort of stuff, where it kind of changes over to gravel. Most of those fish were 8 to about 15 foot deep, weren't real deep. Caught a couple on a crankbait up there as well, throwing rock crawler. on some transition-y type stuff back in one of the bigger creeks. Nothing really big though. I'm really having a hard time finding the big fish we normally catch in February and March right now. I've had a couple on, but I haven't gotten any of the better ones in the boat. But up there we caught some 16, 18-inch largemouth that probably 2.5, 3 pounders. Not bad fish, but nothing to get too excited about on a rock crawler. Didn't really throw a jerkbait and didn't really throw an A-rig that much. After throwing it all day, or most of the day, Saturday and Sunday, my shoulder was pretty well wore out from throwing that. Come up in the White River where I am today. Did not fish a whole lot today. Came out and kind of ran the boat a little bit, but fished about 4 hours up here. Found, like I said, I ran the backs of a lot of creeks, thinking, we've got all this water coming in. We got 2.5, 3 inches of rain yesterday, so I really expected to see shad towards the backs of the creeks, to see some fish towards the backs of the creeks, and really did not find a whole lot towards the backs of the creeks. Got a few bites back in there, mostly on an A-rig and a jerkbait, but I think I only boated one fish out of the back of a creek, and it was a 14.5-inch Kentucky, so nothing to get too excited about. Most of the shad I'm seeing are still in the mouths of the creeks or out on the main lake down here. The better fish I caught were out deep. Caught them on a Demiki, caught them on a scuba spoon, caught a couple on a jigging Rap, but didn't really use it that much. And that had a couple on the scope spin as well, and a school of shad that was out in front of me that I cast to. So catching them out here deep, I imagine you could probably, this is the first day after the front, so it's going to be tough. Get another front coming in tomorrow. Hopefully by the weekend we get a little bit of a warm up, and these shallow fish are going to start biting a little bit better, and you can probably catch them on a jig or a shaky head, probably on an A-rig and jerkbait. Once that starts warming up, we start getting these fish moving up. They really seem to want to move up, but the key right now is finding shad. And like I said, my better bite up here today was definitely fishing deep. Around most of the fish were suspended 25 to 40. Around timber in, probably 50 to 70 feet deep, but most of them were holding really tight to the timber today. Typical post-front type of deal where they want to suck up against that timber, and you've got to put your bait right in their face to get them to bite, but we did manage to get a few of them to bite. Guys, it is first week of February. Like I said, we got a lot of rain. Lake is coming up, and the bite's not horrible. I mean, the bite's not bad. We may have hit the bottom already as far as how cold the water's going to get, which, good, bad, or indifferent, we probably won't get a shad kill this year if it stays like this. But bite's been good. I mean, we're catching fish. Seems like all the reports we're getting on Intel, the guys are catching fish. Best way to stay on top of it, best way to know what's going on, join Table Rock Fishing Intel, get those daily reports, weekly reports, all that information. All the guys have been sharing reports, and we're seeing a lot of fish being caught. So the best way to stay on top of it, become a pro member of Table Rock Fishing Intel and get that information so you know before you go. If you're coming down there, though, want to hire a guide, give me a call. It's Focus Fishing Guide Service. You can reach me at 417-860-4743. You either hit my website, focusfishing.com, and you can either shoot me an email or book online. Either way, I get back to you as soon as I can. Guys, thanks for watching the video. Again, check out Table Rock Fishing Intel if you haven't done so, but thanks for watching. Can't wait to hear from you. We'll see you on the water.